Hi, this is CJ from SideBySideTracker.com and the Get Tracking Network. What we're going to do today is show you quickly how to use the portal entrance to your GPS tracking device. In the email that we sent, there's going to be a link to our main portal entrance. You can also find it over here, Login GT, or just go directly to the website, which is GetTrackingGPS.com. This takes you directly to the portal entrance. There are apps available to download. You can download either the iPhone app or the Android app. Put your username and password right here and press keep me logged in. You should stay logged in and press login. This is going to take us directly to the dashboard. If you have multiple devices, it's going to list them down here. And if they're in different areas, like what we have a one over here in Albuquerque, we have 11 over here in Tulsa. If you click on the number, it will actually bring you in closer, and then you can see that there's multiple areas right here with multiple devices. Whenever it's just one device and far away from the rest of them, it'll just have it listed down here. Now, this is what we call your dashboard. Anytime you click on the dashboard, it just brings you into the whole thing. Then you can click on an area you want to go to. Say I want to go to these two up here. I just click on those two, and it'll zoom in close to those and go from there. You can change it to satellite mode or leave it in maps mode. Doesn't matter. If you have just one device you want to look at, you can also click down here on this little pin drop. So say this 2018 Razor, we're going to click on it. I actually got a notification last night from my device that my battery was low. So we're going to click on it, and we're going to look over here, and it takes us directly to this one device, and it just only shows that one device because we clicked on it. We're going to click on this quick history to see essentially what it says in the history and check the battery voltage. Quick history. 11.8 volts. Yep, that's kind of where my battery threshold for low level alert is. And you can see it's done its heartbeat check-ins every 4 hours for the last several days. We're going to click back on dashboard. All right, we're going to click over here again to the 11 devices and show you a little more things. Let's go to top stops as our next option. Top stops just shows you where the vehicle stops the most. So we're actually going to just do the Razor Pro R right now. We're going to click on it, and it's going to list the top 5 stops that it makes and what its average duration there essentially per day is. This really isn't all that important for the tracking of the device. This is more for if you have a fleet of vehicles. Maybe you've got a spouse or a kid's vehicle and you want to see where they're spending most of their time. Top stops would be good for that. We're going to go on down to heartbeats. We're going to choose a vehicle. Again, we're going to go with the Pro R. And every 4 hours, our GT line of devices, our 1000s, 950s, all the models that we have are designed to turn on every 4 hours and do a check-in. Now, the 950s have a neat feature where they'll actually reset themselves every 4 hours when they do their heartbeat. This is to ensure that it looks for fresh firmware and other important features that may need to be downloaded. But on here, you can see every 4 hours, essentially, it does a heartbeat check-in. If you want to see where one of these heartbeat check-ins is at, we can see that this one yesterday checked in somewhere else other than my house address. So we want to see where this is at. We're going to click this, and we're going to go up here and press map. And that's going to load that one data point on the map. Well, you can see my wife actually took the Pro R down to her church and did a trunk or treat with the Razor, and so this has actually got it at the church essentially. So we're gonna go back and go back to dashboard. We're gonna go look at locations. We're gonna still choose a vehicle. We'll go to Pro R again, and essentially this just shows the last 16 hours worth of heartbeat check-ins. Okay, so the most important thing once you have your tracking device turned on and it's showing the location is to set up a recipient in your alerts panel. So if we click alerts here, it's going to load into the alerts panel. Now the most important thing is the recipient. This is how the device knows where to send notifications, text messages, and emails. This is what it looks like when they're set up correctly. It will show you what alerts it's willing to send and to what groups, and what the email address is or the phone number. So just real quick, how to set up a new recipient is you go to recipients, you press this new button. I just go ahead and click all these because it doesn't matter. Some of them are actually not even used for the devices that we sell, but to be sure, just click them all because you're not going to get any excess notifications or anything like that. If you want to email, leave it selected on email. If you want a text message, put it on text message. You're going to type in your phone number just like it shows here, and then select your carrier. Mine is AT&T. You can go down through the list of carriers. If your carrier is not listed, which is very far and few between, you can let us know and we can talk to your carrier and get them added to the system. So that is always possible if your carrier is not listed. But again, we use AT&T, and so we go down here and we're just going to leave everything as is. If you only wanted to be text messaged between a certain time, you could press this always right here, this little plus sign, and select the time and date that you want to be messaged from starting. So say I only want to be messaged in the middle of the night. I would select weekends, and so I would actually have to put 2 of these here to do all weekdays and weekends. But I would say 10 o'clock p.m. and for the next, say 12 hours, I want to accept getting text messages. And so it would start at 10 o'clock at night. If anything that causes an alert happened, it would send me text messages at nighttime. But if anything that causes alerts happens during the daytime, it wouldn't. But I suggest most people just leave it on always. That way, anytime anything happens, you get that text message. So once you're there, you just press save. Now what this is going to do is it's going to send me an actual text message confirmation to this phone number whenever I press save. So I'm going to press save, and usually it sends it. It doesn't automatically come like this, but since I've already got that phone number saved up there, it didn't send a message, but it will send you a text message, and there'll be a little link here that you click to verify it, and you'll put that text message code in there. Okay, we're just going to delete this one because I don't need double messages. We're going to go to alert history here in the alerts tab. We're going to choose any vehicle. We'll go with the Pro R again. And in the last 3 days, this is the alerts that the device has sent out. The Methodist Church where my wife went, there was one there because there's an entry and exit zone there. We have one for our house, and then we have this repo tool moving alert. It says repo tool moving alert. This is for repossession companies, but it's also can be used for you. Essentially, it just means anytime the device awakens and it sees its distance change of at least 5 feet, it will send a message to you letting you know that there's a moving alert. So this alert will actually happen faster than some geozone alerts. If you have a geozone around your house, you may actually get the moving alert before you get the geozone alert. So it's another great way to get a text message as soon as your vehicle starts to move. And the way that you turn this repo alert on is in the dashboard with a simple click. So you see this right here. Some of these have it. So we're going to turn it off. It's turned off. We're going to turn it back on. It's turned on. That's as simple as that. It's a one click, and it's kind of the same thing through the phone application, and we'll show you here in a little bit. We're going to go back to the alerts tab. We're going to set up our low battery. You can see right here that I've got one set up. If I wanted to set up another one, I could go here. I could say 11 volts. I could say 11.1 volts. Maximum notification sent 1 per hour. Yeah. And press save, and it goes there. So now this will send me a text message when that battery in the vehicle, in any of those vehicles, gets down to 11.1 volts. To delete it, you literally just click on it and press delete. It's that simple. Let's go to maintenance. Maintenance are mileage-based alerts. So the device is always keeping track of how many miles that the device is moved. Now, whether it's on a trailer or whether it's actually driving itself, it just knows the mileage. So you can do something like, oil change alerts, or just maintenance alerts for bearings, or just get a text message. Say you want to get a text message every 30 miles that the device goes. Just so you get extra messages, you could put 30 miles as the limit. So you would press new, you would give it a name. We're going to say CJ. We're going to select all. or just a certain vehicle. And then interval, we'll say 30 miles, and 0 is the start miles, and press save. So now, every time that the device travels 30 miles, it will send a message. So next alert's in 6 miles, essentially, is what it's telling me here. So that's pretty easy. We're going to just delete this because I don't need extra alerts on my phone. And then go back to zones. So zones are your most important things to do and set up. Now, typically when we set up zones, we ask that your zone size be a little bigger than your property size. So we're just going to see this one that says home. If we want to actually see this zone, we can press this on the map. We can, where it says map right here, we can press this. And it's going to take you to where it's at. And that's the size, so we'll put it on satellite so we can see it. So this is actually my house. This is our detached garage. And you can see we've got it halfway on the neighbor's property and halfway on the other neighbor's property and across the street and kind of back in this field a little bit. And the reason that we put it this big is because when your device is inside a garage or something like that and it does those 4-hour check-ins, the device can kind of float around in this area because satellites are always coming in and out of view, and it will cause it to what we call satellite float. Now, most of the time it'll be pretty accurate, but you might get random outliers that pop around, and there's nothing worse than having too small of a geozone and getting that false alert that says it left the zone when really it just checked in slightly outside of this imaginary zone. Because this zone that you see here is not set in stone. It's an imaginary line on a Google Map overlay. So the system does its best to keep it inside the zone, but also notify you quickly if it's left the zone. So, and these zones can be easily changed. We'll go back to zones. We're going to click on this right here, the shape, and it's going to open up a new map called zones. You can type in what you want to call it. We call it just home, entry, and exit. We want to be notified for both of those, for entry and exit. We can change the color. You can change the text that pops up on it. You can write down specific notes as well if you want to, and that this zone is always valid so that it always sends a message anytime something comes or go. Now, if you add the plus sign here, you can tell it to only notify you at certain times if something comes and goes. And if you want to change or add anything, you just click and drag these. It's really that simple. You can add multiple ones. You can change the size, and then just press Save Changes, and that's it. So it's that quick to make a zone or change a zone. If you want to add a new zone completely, you would just press this new sign, and it's going to pop up in the middle of Kansas, essentially, because that's the center of the U.S. And you go to where your area is at. We're going to go here. We're going to go to Bixby. We're going to zoom back into that same area we were just in. It's really quick to do. And I'm just going to click in a clockwise pattern. And that's it. That's as long as it takes to make a zone. It doesn't take more than 30 seconds to make a zone. And we'll say home 2 and press Save Changes. And now we've got a zone made. If we want to delete it, we'll just click here and press Delete, Remove, and that's it. Excessive speed alerts is not really utilized for our devices. It's capped at 90 miles an hour. This is more for trucking companies or insurance policies. If you have a fleet of vehicles. Inactivity alert you can set for a period of days. If you want to get a message, I've got it set up for every 2 days that my device does not move at all, it will send me a text message. This time frame can be anything. It can be 1 day, it can be 10 days, it could be 30 days. If the vehicle doesn't move for 30 days, it will send you a message. What we have some customers do, they will set up about 40 of these messages here, and they will change the day by 1 every time they set one up. Okay, and then start a new one, and period of 4 days, and then start a new one, period of 5 days. We're gonna say 1, and then 2. And so now what this will do is anytime my vehicle is sitting still, it will send me a message every 24 hours. So I've got 5 days worth of messages here that if the same vehicle sits still for 2 days, it'll send the message at the 48-hour mark. If it sits still for 3 days, you're going to get a message at the 3-day mark. Same thing for 4 and 5. So you can do that. It's really up to you on how many messages you want to get a text message to you and keep track of your device. We're going to delete these extra ones. All right, installation you don't really need. That just means that if you got multiple devices in the account and a new one pops up, it will send you a text message. Impound lot, there are thousands of impound lots actually loaded in here. It only displays a few of them, but you can search your city specifically. If you have a fleet of vehicles or trailers, we actually know one of our customers just recovered one of his trailers that was in an impound lot. He actually didn't have the alert on, but he noticed whenever he was looking at the Google Map view of the trailer that he rents out that it was inside a storage lot. And so he called them. They said yes. Apparently the guy he rented the trailer to was arrested for drug trafficking and was using the trailer for nefarious reasons. So power. This can be used for specific items here, and it'll just make sure to send you a message if power is disconnected or powered on or powered off. We've got it set for all groups, and it will send us a notification if the device is being tampered with, or say if your voltage on your battery gets to 14 or gets to about 4.1 volts, which is kind of the threshold for the backup battery kicking on the device, it will send text messages because essentially power will be connected or disconnected. So country exit, don't really need that for most people unless you live next to the border, El Paso, San Diego, things like that. The device will work over into Mexico, usually for about 100 miles distance, if you don't have a international model. So once you're done with these, that's all the alerts. We can go back to reports. You can get reports if you want. If you want to get a specific report about something specific, you can do installations, low battery, hours of use reports, things of that nature, or expiring device. If you want to know when the device expires, you can do that too, and it will send you a report. If you just have one device, it's not really necessary. We can go to dashboard. If you want to see more information on your dashboard, you literally click this view, and you select anything you want to see. So if you want to know when your device is expiring, you can press expire. Installed, you can press installed. You can drag these to show you exact time and dates. So this device right here, this test one, was installed February 16th of 2023. It expires February 16th of 2024. Same thing, we'll go to the Pro R here, May 20th of 2023. It expires May 20th of 2024. It's very easy to see when your renewal is due. Your renewal is due before this time frame. Before May 20th, it will give you the entire month of May, and then it will give you the entire month of April as well. So you'll have essentially 50 days of notification before it goes into pending suspension. Once it goes into pending suspension, it gives you another 60 days, and then you get 200 days or 180 days in suspended state. So again, you have roughly 240 days to pay the renewal. Now, if you pay the renewal before the May 20th date, it's just $24 per year. If you pay it afterwards, there's essentially a $2 penalty for every 30 days you're late. So that can start to add up. So make sure to get your renewals in. Now, the system doesn't email you anything because it all happens in the portal. And a lot of times, I've already clicked it, but there will be a pop-up, and you cannot touch any of the features in the app or the website without first going through that pop-up. But if you don't log in, you're not going to know. So you need to log in, like we suggest, at least every week. Now, we log in daily, obviously. We would absolutely be fine if every customer logged in daily. But if you only log in once a week, that's great. If you're only checking once a month, that's okay. But really check in more often than that. If your device gets suspended and deleted from the system because you didn't log in for 240 days, there's nothing we can do about that. That's you. It takes all of a couple seconds to go through the entire process. So if you can't dedicate a couple seconds in a day in 240 days to just log in and check on it, that is all on you. So we're going to show you now how to look and view through the website through the phone application. Now we can do this on the computer still by just minimizing the browser, and this is going to reformat automatically to look like the phone app. So in the phone app, here are these pending renewals and suspensions. All you got to do is touch them and it will load in, and then you can choose which plan you want to renew and go from there. We're going to press close and go back. So here is our vehicle list. We're going to click on it and it's going to show all of our vehicles here. If we want to see all of these vehicles on a map like what the dashboard did, up here in the top right hand corner are these 3 squares. You click those and then you would just press map. And what that does is it loads it on the map. And same thing, you can click on them and it brings them in closer. You can click on them again and it brings you in even closer. We can see this one's still in green. This is my wife's car. She just got home from church, and it's still showing in green until it will show it stopped here in a second when it refreshes. So we're going to close this. On all these, you can click them and it will pop up a message. Say we wanted to add a geozone easily from just the dashboard, we would press add zone, and it's going to make a big zone like this. Now we typically that's a big zone and it's all right. If we wanted to make it smaller, we just drag this down to an appropriate size, and right about there is pretty good. That's probably a couple houses distance. It's 144 yards. 75 yards is probably about perfect. We zoom in there. Yeah, so that covers about the neighbor's property on all sides, and we can press save changes, and now there's a new geozone created for there. If we wanted to see that, up here in the top left corner, we can press view. We can show labels and zone boundaries. So you can see this one has 2 right here. Well, there's actually 3 because this area right here is still a geozone for our large geozone. If we zoom out, you can see it. So this essentially is a large geozone. If we zoom in, we can see these 2 here. So this big square one's the one we created, and this red one's the one we showed you earlier. We can go back to here. If we want to see just one specific vehicle on this list, we just hit the teardrop thing, and it's going to show you that one right there. It's going to show pop-up information. You can load the quick history of it. Let's load the quick history of the Pro R. Like I said, my wife took that to the trunk or treat. So we're going to click here. It's going to load information. So this one device has been stopped for 19.3 hours since the last time it was moved. Let's click quick history. It's going to automatically load the last 3 days worth of check-in points on the map. If we wanted to load more than that, we can go up here to the top right hand corner where these 3 squares are. We can click it. We can change the date. Let's load all of October on here. So we can go to the 1st of October to the 15th and press go. What that does is it queries the server and then pulls up all the data for that whole entire time frame. Now if we want to see all these data points on a map, we just click back up here in the top right hand corner and we press map, and it's going to load all those data points on a map. So we can see that most of the check-ins are here at the house, and you can see a little bit of that GPS float where it's just kind of floating around and it shows all these stop locations. We're going to zoom out. Now yesterday my wife went to her trunk or treat at her church, and so she took the back way to get there every 2 minutes, and you can click on any of these data points and it will give you information like a time frame. So here's one going south, or going west technically, at 10:45. She was traveling at 32 miles an hour. Well, this next one shows the arrow going upwards. Let's look at the time frame. That's 4:49 p.m. So that was when she was on her way home. She was going 50 miles an hour. The next one shows her going back to the east again at 10:47. So it was 2 minutes between this one and this one, and she's still going 39 miles an hour. And so she went to the church, and it shows her here at her church, and we can click on these stop locations, and she was stopped here in the RAZR for 26 minutes. Then it looks like she moved it. She was stopped there for 32 minutes. And then this one's probably the longest one, 5.2 hours is what she was stopped at that location for. And we can change it to satellite view, and we can see all that on satellite as well. Every 2 minutes, the device wants to repin back at the current location. And so here you can see she left, and this was at 4:39, and took the back way back home. And so here are some other locations that we've been in the RAZR. You know, we just kind of take it around town since it is street legal. Up to the shopping center. This is Subway, and this is our local hardware store. So that's what the quick history looks like if you load information in the quick history. Now some of these dots are pinpoints are spread apart, and that's just because it's again checking in every 2 minutes that the vehicle's in motion. So it depends on how fast you're driving for these to check in. So from here to here, that was a 2-minute time frame. You know, if I was driving slower, they'd be closer together. If I was driving faster, they would be a little further apart. So we're going to load back. I'm going to go back again and back again. When you're using, if you're just using your phone, maybe you don't have a PC and you want to set up your alerts, you would go to this alerts tab. You go to your recipient. Again, setting up your recipient is the most important part of your notifications. Set up your recipient, and there's no new. There's nothing that lists new up on top here. Everything is always in these squares on the top right-hand corner. Press the square, and then press new. And you set it up the same way. I just go ahead and click all these. Set up a name. And do text message or email. Type in your email. I'm going to say info@gettracking.net. Info@gettracking.net. And press save. And there you go. It's as easy as that. It's got info@gettracking.net on all those. If I wanted to delete a certain one down here in the bottom right hand corner, I can press delete. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes. And then it's deleted. It's really that simple. It takes no time. It took me all of 30 seconds to do that. We're going to go back to the recipients. You can do the same thing with low battery, your maintenance, your zone alerts. You can press zone. If you want to set up a new zone, you can press on the map here. You can show all the maps, all of the zones on them, and see all the zones that we've got created here. The easiest way to set up a zone for here is just to do it from the dashboard. Like I said, go to vehicles, click on the one that you want to set up a zone for, and just press add zone, and then change the size down and press save. And it's that easy to set up your geozone. If you have the IO relay and you have it set up to either kill the ignition or fuel pump or whatever it is, the way you would actually do that is set up a recovery. So this little star here is your recovery tab. And so we're going to click that. We don't have any vehicles that need to be recovered or need to be disabled, but we're going to say the Pro R. We're going to set up a new one. We're going to say CJ is the notification. The vehicle is the Pro R. And we're just going to say recovery. And what we're going to do now is press save. And so now we have some options. We can pinpoint it on the map, or we can go to the map. We can go to the map right here. Now, down here in the bottom left-hand corner is going to be your options that you can do. If you have the IO relay kit installed to shut something off, this is where you would do it. You could now press disable starter or enable buzzer. There's on every device, there's a small buzzer on there that you can have buzz. Sometimes it's pretty faint to hear, especially if it's under some plastics, and you won't be able to hear it with the motor going because it's a pretty faint buzzer. But you can disable the starter if you have that set up. So we press disable starter. It's going to say this vehicle will have its starter disabled, so when the person tries to turn on the ignition, nothing will happen. The vehicle must have been wired properly during the device installation for this feature to work. Press disable. Starter disabling has been initiated. It can take up to 20 seconds for the vehicle to respond with the new status. If the vehicle is not in the coverage then the starter will not change. So we press close. So what's happened now is the system is sending a message to the device that says, hey, let's ground that contact, and sends let ground through to enable the normally opened relay to close, so that it's normally closed, and that will cut power to whatever the device is. So to re-enable it, you would press the disable starter again, and that would re-enable it. So that's how to do that. We're going to go back. We're going to tell this to... We can add details to it. We can show our notes here if we want to. Everything is in this top right-hand corner on all the pages. If you have questions, you can always go to the help button, and there's a little infographic on how to help. We're going to go all the way back here. And so pretty much everything that was available on the full-size dashboard is available here. It's just kind of laid out a bit differently. But again, your vehicles, if you just want to see one vehicle, you can click on the teardrop here, and it's going to load you into that one vehicle. If you want to see more information, you can see and show more information. Show zone icons, show traffic. You know, I don't know what that traffic's going to do for you. We're going to go back. If you want to see more information on here, you would just click in the top right hand corner and say show hide, and there's still a list of things you can do, like odometer. If you have make and model put in, you can select all those as well. You can select all of them if you want to, and it's going to show all that information right here if you have any of it typed in. But the important thing is expires, and that shows the expiration date and the install date. So if you have any questions, you can get a hold of us at info@gettracking.net, or just give us a call. You can also go to the support page, press support, and here's the video on how to use the system. There's also a text line you can text us at, or our official phone number, or our email. We are happy to get to you as quickly as we can. Sometimes we are out riding and may not be able to answer phones. So texting is good, usually on Saturdays, Sundays, or Fridays. We try to be out of the office and out riding or doing stuff with the family. So shoot a text if it's one of those days. Any other days, give us a call. If we don't get to the phone, we will call you back as soon as we possibly can. And that's pretty much it. If you have questions on how the system works from here, you can always, like I said, give us a call, and we'll teach you how to go through it. Thank you.